Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today, I want to talk about a very serious topic, and it's a topic that I'm actually talking about without any knowledge of what's actually going to happen because it's in the future. I'm going to be talking about what is going to happen tomorrow, or what I think is going to happen tomorrow, and it's actually 2 days until then for me because I tape a day in advance. But I want to address the question a lot of people have been asking of, is there going to be a lot of violence at the Capitals on Inauguration Day? Are we going to see a boogaloo break out? Are we going to see anything like we saw on the 6th? Well, my answer to that, and keep in mind, I am just putting my 2 cents in here. I am just forecasting here. I'm speculating here. But I think I'm going to be right. But if I'm wrong, feel free to call me on it. But I'm going to go on record as saying that I don't think there's going to be much violence at all, if any. If everybody remembers a few days ago on the 17th, which is actually, yesterday to me now, there were supposed to be these big rallies at every capital. There were going to be armed people, and the media is like, oh, it's going to be a bloodbath. These gun people and these Trump nuts are so bloodthirsty. And they're going to be armed this time. Well, I hate to break it to them. There were probably a lot of them armed last time. And the very fact that no one got shot on the other side probably shows how thirsty we actually are. And how much we think before we actually resort to firearms and violence. Now, of course, there were some people in that crowd that did resort to violence, but they're probably not the type that would be armed normally. If you listen to that tape, there's some real nut jobs of hooting and hollering in the background. And so I don't think everything there that happened could be blamed on every person that was there, especially with the way media portrays things. And I know I'm getting off topic here, but if you paid attention, remember that lieutenant colonel from the Air Force that they're portraying as like, he's a crazy person and he's leading this revolt and he's got zip ties and blah, blah, blah. Apparently he took them from someone who had them. And also, now that we have audio, he's telling people, be respectful, get out of that chair. Listen, I know you're all angry, but we have to be respectful. We don't need to destroy anything, blah, blah, blah. So it sounded to me like he was being pretty reasonable during the whole thing, although he was somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. But in the thick of things, he seemed like he was keeping a level head about himself. But back to the topic of, is there going to be violence at the Capitals? Well, in Washington, there ain't going to be, because that place is locked up tighter than a drum. Anybody dumb enough to show up there, apparently, even if you're just going to work, and you pull over and ask someone for help at the blockades because you're having trouble finding your way to work at your security job because of all the barricades, they're all going to arrest you and lock you up. Better safe than sorry, I guess. We'll just rather violate some people's rights now, it'll all come out in the wash. It's kind of like that take their guns now, give them due process later mentality that Trump was spouting. But like I was saying, I don't think we're going to see much at the Capitals, just like we didn't see much at the Capitals on the 17th. I tried to find a rally to go to on the 17th, couldn't find one. Couldn't find any place I could be to watch the police during this. I can't find one for tomorrow, which is actually 2 days from now right now. Can't find one that is of any merit that I should actually show up to because I'm worried that the police or military will overstep their bounds and, silence a protesting crowd that has every right to protest. Can't find one that's happening even. Except for in Washington, D.C., which they're going to be in a very specific location. I doubt they'll get anywhere even near what's going on. And we do have one person that's going. Honda 420 is going, so maybe we'll get a report from him of what actually happened on the ground for our episode of Inside Guns the day after. We'll see. And maybe he'll be in our live chat that night. But like I said, I don't think we're going to see much. And I don't think we're going to see much because a lot of the people that were there, like in Washington, D.C., and have seen what happened, a lot of them did not agree with what happened in the Capitol. You got to remember, 90% of the people, more than 90, probably 95, 98% of the people stayed outside. And these people are now like, wow, I thought I was going to a protest. Turned out I was going to a attempted insurrection. I don't want to be part of that. So I'm not going to the rally again, period. And then there's also people that would love to be part of that insurrection, but they're seeing people get arrested and facing capital charges, and they probably ain't going to get pardoned. A lot of these people thought Trump would pardon them. So they're like, I ain't going to go in there and get arrested and lose all my rights. So I don't think we're going to see a lot. We might see some actual organized, orderly protests, and some of them might be armed. But like I said, the media loves to pretend, oh, if they're armed, there's going to be bloodshed. Not on our part. We don't usually fire the first shot. People who show up at gun rallies, etc., we usually think before we act. We're not a bunch of bloodthirsty monsters, which is why I think you're not going to see a lot of people even attending the rallies, much less getting involved in anything violent or over the top. There might be a few, just like with Antifa. If you give Antifa and BLM the benefit of the doubt and say most of them weren't doing anything illegal, we got to realize that probably tomorrow most of the gun people won't be doing anything illegal. That doesn't mean some people won't, but you can't demonize us all because of the acts of those. If you say mostly peaceful protesters when it comes to BLM, you have to agree that it's mostly peaceful protesters with gun rights. So don't be hypocrites, people on the left. Give the gun people the same benefit of the doubt. I hear so many people on the left go, if any of them show up at the Capitals, they should just be tear gassed and rubber bulleted and chased off because that's what they did to a lot of the BLM people. Well, even if they did do that to BLM, which they did at one time at the Capitol, when Trump wanted to do his little photo op, which I know will piss people off saying that, but suck it up, that's reality. That doesn't justify doing it again. You don't fix one wrong with another wrong. And if you wish a wrong on other people simply because it's happened to you or someone you think didn't deserve it, well, then you're not a very good person. You don't really believe in principles and values and rights. You just believe in tit for tat. You know, well, I ain't used to it. They don't use it. You know, that kind of bullshit. You should support free speech. You should support the right to assemble. You should support the right for people to protest their government, whether you agree with them or not. So people on the left, don't be hypocrites like so many people on the right were this summer when BLM was protesting. So, like I said, getting back to topic, I don't think much is going to happen because most people in the gun community, the majority, aren't like the online crowd, the hot-headed, angry, full of bluster people who talk about boogaloos, but have never even so much as seen combat or fired a gun in duress. That's not most of us. Most of us that have seen what war looks like don't want anything like that in our country, period. Most of us that are reasonable thinking people can understand that government is government no matter who's at the top right now. And just because the person we would like to be at the top isn't going to be because they didn't win an election isn't a reason to overturn our Constitution. So I don't think you're going to see a lot of involvement from the gun community, period, because they said after the 6th, wow, I don't want to be associated with that crowd. And then there's also another group that said, wow, I don't want to get caught and punished like those people got punished. I thought I was doing this with impunity, as so many of them thought they were doing. So I just don't think you're going to see much. Now, like I said, if I'm wrong, feel free to call me out on it. We'll talk about what happened. Maybe that'll be the day that the Civil War starts. But I really think it's just going to be a continuance of the uncivil war we've been suffering through recently, where it's just two sides calling each other's other names and neither side really being right with their thinking. So I don't think much is going to come of it. I wouldn't panic if I was people out there. If you want to attend a protest, if you know there's an organized, peaceful protest, don't be afraid to go. Because I think people that do protest, as long as you stick with organized groups and people you know and people you trust and people like yourself, I think you'll be fine. I don't think anyone's going to start any violence. I would worry about police and military being on edge and them starting something, but that's my biggest concern. That's like when I said I want to go to a rally. I want to go to watch the police and watch the military, not to watch the protesters. I trust the protesters far more than I trust the police or the military. I trust my fellow citizen, my fellow gun owner, who's there because they believe in a cause, way more than I do someone who's there because he's been given his marching orders and he's protecting his pension and his income. So if you want to go, go. I encourage everyone to go to one. But be aware, there is some risk right now. But if you ask me, I don't think there's going to be much violence, at least not started by our side. And I just don't think there's going to be much to the protests themselves because I think most people are going to choose to stay home. They usually choose to stay home when there aren't consequences for coming, when there isn't a great risk to their safety. So I can't imagine they'll change that now. So I think tomorrow will be pretty much uneventful. I absolutely hope I'm right. But like I said, if I'm wrong, feel free to call me on it. All right, I want to move on now to my favorite segment. I don't think I have to tell you all what it is. It's Gun Talk. And today I want to answer a question from a viewer who asked me, what is the best pocket semi-automatic? If they want to carry a semi-automatic pistol in their pocket, what is the best one and what's the best way to carry it, in my opinion? Well, the best way to carry, I'm going to say right now, in pocket is a wallet holster, a rear wallet holster that just takes the place of a wallet. I love those things. I don't like carrying in my front pockets. I think it's too bulky. You can't get to it if you're sitting down. Like if I'm sitting down on this stool right now, if I had a gun in my pocket, I can't get it without standing up. If I had it in my wallet holster, I can just slide my thumb in my back pocket, pull it right out. So wallet holsters, I love. Front pocket holsters, not so much, but that's up to you. But what guns do I think are the best pocket carry guns that will actually fit in a wallet holster for a rear wallet holster? Well, of course, number 2 is going to be a Rohrbach R9S or the new Remington model, the new Remington RM380. Those are excellent little pocket guns. They're just awesome guns. Remington even did this gun right. Rohrbach came up with such a good design that even Remington could make it right. It's one of the few Remington guns I trust. Now, the advantage to getting the Rohrbach over the Remington is the Rohrbach is available in 9mm, whereas the Remington is only 380. But in the number 1 position, if you want the smallest pocket gun you can get that still is potent, but is so small you won't even know you're carrying it in a wallet holster, much less anyone else, it's got to be the C-Camp 380. The C-Camp 380s are just freaking awesome. They are little beasts. They are little solid pieces of steel. They're just amazing little guns. And it used to be, if you wanted the 380, you know, the 32 was like $480, but the 380 was like $795, you know, $895. But now with the new company, they're about the same price. There's not much of a price difference on the 380 Rohrbach. I mean, not Rohrbach, C-Camp. You could actually get it now for not much more than the 32. So to me, that's the best pocket gun in the game right now. The one that I would be the most comfortable carrying in my pocket. Because I wouldn't even consider like small revolvers, J-frames, anything for my pocket. Just way too big. My pockets are too full of me to have room for much anything else. I'd have to buy a lot looser pants if I was going to put something big in my pocket. I'm not saying there's nothing big in my pants. Don't worry about that. But if I was going to carry a gun in my pants, it's going to be a small gun, and it's going to be something like the RM380, the Rohrbach, or even better, the C-Camp 380 in a rear wallet holster. All right, next I want to move on to a viewer mail question, a question I got from a viewer. Now, this didn't actually come in via email. It came in during my live chat. And this person asked me, do I think we need term limits for people serving in office, in government office? You know, senators, congressmen, etc. And I don't really think we do need term limits. Now, I do believe that we need to do something about all these senior or senile citizens running our country. I don't think we need 90-year-olds in Congress that are taking senility medication. I don't think we need 80-year-old presidents. I am so tired of this country being run by the geriatric class, all the octogenarians out there. I mean, some of these fuckers are 90 years old, even older. I've seen them stay in the Senate or the Congress until they were 101. That's ridiculous. And plus, the number of senators and congressmen right now that are on medications for mental decline is very high. We learned that during the beginning of the Trump administration when they were talking to the doctor and doing interviews. So something's got to be done about it. I don't think term limits are the answer, because I think any state should have the right to elect any leader that they think is doing their state a good job as many times as they want. But we need to do something about the fogies. So what I propose is a mandatory retirement age of 70 for government service. They do that to clerks. They do that to people that are, mailmen, everything else. They have mandatory retirement ages. So why not for the people leading the country? Do we really want 85-year-olds who can't even remember what they said that morning to people in a meeting, like Feinstein? She is so far gone, she doesn't remember what she said yesterday. She will have conversations with people in the morning about how she needs to retire, and by afternoon, her aides said she wouldn't even remember having it. Her mind was so gone. And she was still sitting as the head of a big committee making important decisions for our country, even though she was completely mentally incompetent. That's why I say we need an age limit on service as president, as senators, as congressmen. Once you hit 70, you're done. I don't care if you start at 25 or you start at 55. You can serve until you're 70, and after that, you're not serving anymore. Now, a lot of people are, that's ageist. Well, sometimes you have to make decisions. Sometimes you have to draw a line somewhere. And when it comes to running the country, I don't want a lot of people on Alzheimer's medication making the decisions for you and me, who we go to war with, who we trade with, etc. So, no, I'm not for term limits, but man, I am definitely for a mandatory retirement age of 70 years old. All right, as usual, I want to end our show tonight with our viewer EDC, and today we have Nodak 357. And Nodak 357 is carrying his 357 Magnum Smith & Wesson 627 PC, and he's carrying it in an enhanced pancake holster from Lobo. Love their holsters. This is an awesome gun and an awesome holster, so I definitely approve. He also says he's got his gun loaded up with solid copper ammunition from Underwood, the Extreme Penetrators, another decision that I actually approve of here, and another item I recommend. So kudos for that too. Now, at first when I saw his screen name, I thought it said No Dick 357. So I thought for sure he was going to be appendix carrying here, and that's how he got his screen name. But I'm very happy to see that he's got it in that Lobo holster, carrying it where it should be carried. So good for him. The only thing I will say here, though, is he says he's 6'1" and weighs 215 pounds. This fucking skinny bitch right here says he's 6'1", 215 pounds. I used to be 6'1". I'm not anymore because I don't know if I'm melting or shrinking or what, or compressing, but I'm getting a little shorter. But I'm still over 6 feet, and I'm about 215, 220 pounds, and I ain't nowhere near the size of this kid. This guy is scrawny. I think he needs to get on a scale again. I think the only way he's 215 pounds is with one of those ammo cases on each shoulder fully loaded, and he's soaking wet when he weighs himself. But other than that, everything he's doing here looks great to me. Like I said, great gun, great holster with the Lobo holster there. So that's Nodak, not No Dick, because like I said, he's carrying the way he should be. Nodak 357 with his Smith & Wesson 627 in his Lobo holster. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back tomorrow. For now, I want to tell everyone that plans on attending a rally tomorrow to please be safe. And if things turn out well, I hope you let me know how they went, where you're at. But like I said, safety is your first concern. So please take care of yourself. I wish everybody well. With that being said, I want to remind everybody that this channel is a no sponsor, no advertising channel. We only take money from people who actually watch the channel, and we put that money to good use. So if you want to check out what this channel does with the money we get, go over and check out TYMPpistolproject.com and look at what we do over there. Check out the TYM Triple P and the other pet projects we do over there. And if you like what you see, if you like what we're doing and you want to support the channel, go on over to patreon.com/The Yankee Marshal. There's links to both of these in the upper corner of this video, and become a patron, become a posse member. So until tomorrow, I will sign off as usual by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. But what it will be in the future, due to our hard work, if we keep our wits about us and we don't give in to the fearmongers and the profiteers, what things will be in the future, thanks to our good works, is better.